Welcome to the Dowden Podcast. I'm your host, the official CRG, and today we are going to have a story time about the Forest Haven Asylum. Now, we are going to talk about anything and everything from the past and what I experienced and my findings. So before we get started, you guys can find this video strictly on YouTube, but the audio everywhere else. One more thing, I have to warn everybody, viewer discretion is advised. This is a pretty gruesome topic that we talk about. A lot happened here, and it isn't anything positive. We do talk about some of the stuff that the staff did and people experienced. So if you are squirmish, please click off this video or episode and watch another one of Dialed In's. But with that said, enjoy. So to start it right off, Forest Haven was a state school and hospital for children and adults with mental or physical disabilities in the early 1920s. Forest Haven's campus comprised approximately 300 acres and a full set of 22 buildings that still stand today. And this is actually a prime spot for photographers because throughout these buildings, you will find a whole school, cafeteria, theater, gym, hospital, even a dentist office, and a morgue. But at its height, Forest Haven had around 1,000 patients and had people coming in every single day, not knowing what happened behind those doors. You see, Forest Haven was operational for about 66 years, and through all those years, patients would be abused and beaten and were put in filthy conditions for the fun of the workers. And with that said, there's actually 2 confirmed deaths by the workers who did take lives of patients, but there are said to be more than 400 total deaths and 10 plus suicides in Forest Haven Asylum alone. Ultimately, Forest Haven was shut down by order of federal judge in 1991 after finding evidence of years of physical and sexual abuse and medical incompetence. Now, for the family's sake, I won't name the 2 people who were murdered due to pure respect. But during Forest Haven's operation, an 8-year-old girl was killed, and so was a 22-year-old man. And what we know about that is that the 8-year-old girl died from improper feeding, and that was the cause of death to many other patients, including the 22-year-old man. You see, staff members would lock dozens of residents naked except for adult diapers in rooms stripped of furniture other than wooden benches. And I will tell you from experience, when I walk through that place, it is an eerie feeling. Every room is wooden benches. The only comfortable chairs I found were in the staff members' offices. So you could tell that everybody was mistreated. And, it was a very uncomfortable feeling walking through there. But to carry on, residents were often fed baby food while laying down, which led to vomiting, gastrointestinal bleeding, and aspirational pneumonia, which is basically when food, liquid, or vomit is inhaled into the lungs, causing a fatal infection or choking. And I found a little article where the father actually spoke out from the 22-year-old, and he basically said that they wouldn't even give him time to swallow what he had in his mouth. They would be pouring it in him like they were pouring water down his throat, and it would all just come out of his mouth and nose. And just reading this, and especially going there, like, you can tell this place was no joke. A lot of really dark things took place here during its operation. And, now I've always really known about this place because I grew up in Maryland, but I've never really talked about what happened. And, I've been there about 20 times, maybe a little more. And I promise you, when I tell you, not one time is the same. It doesn't matter if it's daytime, if it's nighttime, you will hear footsteps. You will hear knocking. You will hear voices. You will hear somebody behind you. I get it all the time, every time I go in. And so many people will say I'm kidding or not believe me. But if you break one thing in this asylum, the whole place wakes up. I mean, you hear noises that you will never hear, growls, giant bangs, screams that couldn't even be made by a human. It is so high pitched. And I've had multiple times where I've been followed. Like, you'll hear footsteps, and when it's really dark, you'll see a shadow. Right when you turn the light, you'll still hear the footsteps, and there's not the shadow. So this place really is no joke. I mean, with 400 plus deaths, suicides, the amount of pain that the workers would inflict on the patients. I mean, they'd steal their money, they'd give them the wrong medication, they'd lock them up, they'd torture them, they'd abuse them. I mean, you can only imagine what haunts in this place. And it genuinely scares me. I've been multiple times alone where it's normal. You get footsteps, you hear the talking. But I'm telling you, right when something breaks, it's like it's a whole new place. I've had small rocks thrown at me. I've even been touched in the main basement at the big building. And I mean, I have clarification. I've taken multiple friends there. I even took my own mother there, and she thought we were being followed, and there was nobody behind us. So, sites like these with a lot of history, especially dark history, you have to be very mindful of what you do and say, even if you don't believe in spirits. If you go to abandoned places, just leave it be, enjoy it for what it is, because there's people like me who actually enjoy it. We enjoy what's left there, we enjoy the history. I'm actually going to show you guys some pictures here right now that I took at Forest Haven myself. Um, the experience there, whenever I go back home to Maryland, I'm going to go. I'm not going to tell you guys exactly where it is because I don't want it to get ruined. You can always do your research. But if you do go, know what you're walking into, because it isn't just an abandoned place. There's something there, and I'm not just saying that. But with that said, if you guys like these types of episodes or videos, make sure you drop a like and a comment down below, and you hit that subscribe button. But with that said, today's quote is by the great Leonardo da Vinci. He once said, "Art is never finished, only abandoned." I appreciate you guys tuning in. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And this is the Dowden Podcast.